So what is living myth? I'm just going to kind of get playful with you for a moment. It's like the it's like the great story unfolding. You know, the story that's been unfolding since the beginning of time, the greater story, the deeper story, what's actually kind of unfolding, not necessarily the meaning that we give it, but the undercurrents, the great story dreaming itself. Another way to think about it is it's like the unconscious realm that's here in all moments. It permeates all of creation. The the Celts had this thing called the other world, and that kind of hints at living myth. The Sufis called it the mundus imaginalis. The Aboriginal Australians called it the dream time, the dreaming. I mean, they didn't use English words, but that's our adaptation. And it's quite the revelation to rest into the reality that the dream time never ended, that it continues, and that when we talk of the dreaming or the dream time, we don't talk of something in the distant past, at the very beginning of all things. We actually remember that we're a part of it right now. That the dreaming continues, and everything that we're here with, all of the myth and story and unfolding, all of us on these extraordinarily rich and destructive sometimes and beautiful life paths that we're on, where we rise and we fall and we rise and we fall, that's a part of it. So the dream time isn't some story from the ancient, beginnings of time. It's a continuance, and it's here with us. We are part of it. And we're learning how to be part of it. The best of the best of whoever's out there is learning how to be human in these times, what that actually means, and how to bring themselves forward in their humanity. You can also think of the living myth as the symbolic meaning that lives underneath all things. The meaning that's here in each moment, not the meaning that we project onto things, not the story we make up about something, but the meaning that's always here, that as we mature, as we grow, as we ripen, we learn to attune to, we learn to hear, we learn to bring ourselves to. The meaning that's already here. And as we ripen, we come into relation with it. It's the meaning supports us to have relation with what's here. It's a bit of a world exploding moment for me when I remembered, after a long time, that there's this story that we're meaning-making beings, and that's true. But there was a time when we truly knew a thing, like truly knew a thing, when we'd bring ourselves to it, rub ourselves up against it, sit with it for a week or a month, get to know the spirit in it, the essence of it, actually have genuine, intimate relation with it. And that time is coming again. And the thing that is most present and most close in this time is our relationships, each other, particularly our intimate relationships, particularly that which we relate to that's most present and most closest, our closest relationships, particularly those. And when we learn what a thing is, when we bring ourselves to it and it reveals itself to us, it changes us. Well, it's supposed to. When we build relationships with something actually, it shows itself to us. And whatever we thought was it was before gets to drop away as we've kind of seen the deeper story, the deeper meaning, the deeper relationship, the deeper love that wants to come through. So there is an innate meaning that lives in every moment and in everything. And it's beyond what we consciously construct, and it's beyond what we project onto life. And as we grow, and I mean properly grow as beings, we grow to attune to what is here, to attune to the relationship, to attune to what it actually is. That's part of our ripening. It's also part of what the West forgot. So when we engage with living myth, or through the lens of living myth, we begin to grow an understanding of the true nature of things, the true nature of each other, and the true nature of ourselves. Our lives are shaped by the myths that we are born into. Our entire lives are shaped by those myths, not as something that we have to transcend, but as tensions and activational experiences that are there to support us to become what we are and to flourish into the story that's seated in us. And we're also shaped by the myths that we carry, the seed that is born in us. Some call it destiny, some call it sacred role, some call it the essence of ourselves. It kind of has different angles and different names, but we're born here with it. We come here with it. And everything that we're gifted is medicine in it, flourishing into itself. Living myth encourages us to be in intimate relation with creation, and it gives us a deeper understanding of the world around us and how we're supposed to be in relation with it. What sort of relation sustains? What sort of relation is most rich? It's beyond religion, it's beyond belief systems. It is the unconscious realm. It is the story that underpins all things. And if you are in a relationship, an intimate relationship right now, it is weaving you. You are being woven by it. It's a part of why you're together. We're meant to be here right now, and you're meant to be there right now. It's also living myths also a framework that we can engage life through, that we can engage creation through. And in this time when we're transitioning out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age still, the living myth gives us a way to grow into interconnectedness, We've been in the Piscean age for quite a while. We're only babies in the Aquarian age, if that, and we're learning. We're remembering what it is to be human in an interconnected way, truly. And there's a language that comes with the myth as well. There's a language that isn't about right or wrong. I'd love you to hear me on this one. It's not about right or wrong. The language of living myth isn't about right or wrong. It is an activational language. It is the language of the unconscious. It's not about being true or false. It's about being here as an experience within which the truths that sleep inside us can be tickled, within which the truths that are already there, the knowing that's already there, even if it's sleeping, it can begin to stir and wake and come alive in this lifetime. So myth is really there as an activational experience. Living myth is there as something to tickle us awake, to tickle us into ourselves, to breathe life into the parts of us that have forgotten themselves, to breathe life into the parts of ourselves that sleep. I like to think of the language of myth as being here to bring us into contact with true love, to bring us into contact with genuine humanity. I trust that you know that we're in a really interesting time on Earth right now, quite a catalyzing time. A particular kind of tension exists in the world in these times that is right on the borderline of breaking us, or at very least breaking our hearts open. But it's that kind of tension that makes beings, that kind of tension that grows beings. And we're gathered here in that context, in the context of these times on Earth, in the context of this moment in the human story. And we're each unraveling into ourselves and finding our way to each other and learning how to be together amongst all of that tension. And I don't know about you, but that's been quite a wild and initiatory experience for me. Shannon and I, in these times, we really have a really pure and deep desire to meet this moment in the human story, to meet this moment on Earth, to meet this moment within our human family, to meet this moment in ourselves. And that's really something. It's really something to bring ourselves to this moment in the great story and actually step into this moment and be here with all that's here, how to hold that in our hearts.